Okay.
Meet and discuss board meeting of the Ambridge Area School District is held on Wednesday, November 12th, 2025. This meeting is being held to review the agenda for the regular monthly board meeting that will be held on Wednesday, November 19th, 2025 at 7 p.m. in the high school auditorium. Please join us for the flag salute.
America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This meeting is being recorded for district purposes. It is or may be published in part or in its entirety on the district's website without the express permission of meeting participants. With that, may we have a roll, please?
Mrs. Farragonia,
Here.
Mrs. Fisher.
Here.
Ms. Fitzko,
Here.
Mrs. Kehoe,
Here.
Mr. Kovacevic,
Here.
Mrs. Romasco,
Here.
Mrs. Scott,
Here.
Mr. Zaggi,
Here.
Mr. Carpenter,
Here.
all present.
Thank you. Sunshine Law, please.
Board of School Directors held an executive session on Wednesday, November 12th to discuss personnel matters subject to attorney-client privilege and other confidentiality laws, litigation or threat and litigation matters.
Okay, thank you. Any correspondence?
No correspondence.
All right. Any amendments or adjustments to the agenda? Okay. With that, I believe we have a presentation this evening by Dr. Eric Rosendale from the New Horizons Schools. Floor is yours, sir. Welcome. Sure. So Dr. Rosendale, I'll start. There's no question that and I believe everybody in the county.
In here. I don't know if your mic's not working or.
Usually people don't say they can't hear me. Sorry about that. I don't think there's any question that the county and certainly the people in this room value your school's services. And as long as I can remember, you guys have been around. So I think we all intend to and would like to see it stay that way. It did come to my attention, though, that there may have been other options. And I guess my question is, it's a large project, obviously immediate need, obviously a time frame attached. So given all those factors, what are those other options and are they available to us?
There's a network option that was and to the superintendent, and both groups at those meetings decided that option that was presented today was the best way forward, not only to correct for the old and asbestos problems, but then to allow the building to be useful well into the future.
And just so we're clear, the time frame that you need a decision from us, given not having exposure to those other options, the time frame for us to decision is today.
So we've asked all the resolution and have it back to us by the November 18th date, so that when the hybrid board meets on the 19th, we have the information necessary.
Does anybody else have any other questions?
I have a couple questions. The picture that you showed us with it has like the cabinets with the sink. And then like when they were taken out, like there's the pipes there, but there's all that mold behind there. Was that particular mold in that area, was it from leaking pipes behind? Well, the reason why I was asking that question was if it were leaking pipes behind there, would that not be covered by your insurance carrier? But you don't know that for sure yet, right?
Final determination, but one is not covered, it's all we have found.
Okay, my next question is, have you applied for any grants yet? Have you applied for any grants yet? Can I do have a question about tuition? Are all the students that attend school at New Horizons, are they all in county or do we have some out of county students? And my question is this, what do they pay for tuition? Okay, and my last, actually, it's not a question. It was like, when you look at the sheet for Ambridge's share in the first 3 years and the remaining 27, if you add that all up, Ambridge ends up paying almost $3.8 million over the life of that. Yes. Okay, all right, thank you.
President Carpenter, I have just a quick question. Dr. Resendale, have you met with any legislators or anybody that could maybe further help with assistance? Thank you.
They are all very similar.
Good.
President, I have a question. You said you received a letter from your insurance that stated that they had denied it for the mold because you can't prove as far as time frame wise and the immediate need. Doesn't this constitute an immediate need to get our students back into that building?
So, I think for something to be considered under insurance, it has to be something that happens like in an instance in time. And mold does not happen. So if there were a burst pipe and we could directly associate that with problem, then it would still a chance of being covered. But because there are so many instances, I end up paying deductible that many times over also. And so they haven't made a final determination on that. CM Region is our insurance carrier, and they are looking at every angle, which is why they haven't made a determination yet. But most likely, I don't think.
I mean, I understood the mold. I'm just saying you said need also. So I was wondering why that would not be constitute immediate need. That I meant not the mold itself. I meant the need for the students.
So you need that, so the body can be need, but it has to like, it needs. It has to be at a moment in time, like. It's not there. You know, you drove 1,000 miles down the road, you know, the time of 8 more about tires. Right?
So, just a couple follow-up questions. If you did the 30-year note for the maximum amount, and you had other major capital projects come up over that 30 years, as they may with aging buildings, so we're all fairly familiar with that. How would you handle that?
So what I answered to another 2000 next one question is around the 50-year life of the building. The AMA unit has taken care of all of the regular routine maintenance and repairs, including a roof. And we borrowed $500,000 at one point, and we paid that off on $100 million through our own revenues, and got the roof repaired. So, we have dollars, just like everyone else, you set aside to cover those routine maintenance, obligations. We've, renovated the pool area, we've renovated the electrical systems to some degree. There are a variety of things, installation of new carpeting, and we've never gone back to the school districts, pay new revenues and going to be able to do that part of the revenues.
And the final question is, the other options that you and the board and the superintendents excluded from the choices that we have here tonight, did they satisfy the immediate need of remediation and create a situation that you'd be able to move the kids into a safe building under the same timeline?
I was in they have taken care of some of the issues, but not the issues to the degree that would be needed, some of the life span of the building and serve as dollars in the future.
Further questions?
I have a couple questions. You mentioned that your revenues are what helped you take care of those other items. So what you're saying is since the beginning of time of New Horizon, the rate that we pay for a student hasn't gone up. You don't have to answer that. We all know that the rate and the cost for a student has gone up since New Horizon is open. So you adjust your budget to carry and satisfy what your budgeting needs are in revenues every year. So you adjust it. Next question. How many square feet is your current building? And was one of the options that you had looked into in satisfying, because you found alternate space to house the students today because you needed to move immediately, correct? What's the cost of the alternate space that you're utilizing today? $50,000 a month? And what were your operating costs on the building at New Horizon before the mold identification? What did it cost you to be in the building that you're remodeling? I'm sorry? You still had a maintenance budget. You still had things of that nature that you still put into the building. To your point, you made your budget so that you could handle fixes and repairs and things of that nation. That's what I was asking is what was your, let's say, monthly or annual cost associated to maintenance and upkeep? Because to me right now, it and part of the reason I ask what the expense is for the space that you're taking today, the alternate space at $50,000 a month, that's the cost that you're assessing us in 26, 27, just us. So overall cost for renting a space or potentially finding a completely new space without gutting and remodeling something that is wrought with mold seems to potentially be cheaper than renovating the building that you're in today. To your point, a third of the space in 4 years, we're going to be paying $130,000 on our own to help satisfy this $20 million. I feel that there could have been alternate locations scouted or identified to move the school instead of remodeling. Beaver County has a lot of property. I understand that there's a lot of expense associated to it. It's pretty staggering because we are running into our own problems here as well. So to just not I understand it's an emergent need, but it's a big number. For, not saying that 14 students aren't worth the investment, but as a part of the step that you're identifying, or STEB, you know, our proportion of students being provided and supported is drastically different than other districts, as well as what their support model is in funding what you need in a remodel versus a relocation and build out. Those are my comments and questions.
Yeah, I would just like to say, I know we talked Dr. Rosendale, so I just wanted to say a couple things. First, I've said this already. I think you've heard this, so it's to no surprise, but I'm going to say it in the public as well. First and foremost, I'll start with the most important thing. When we get to go, we've toured the building with you, and when we get to go to graduation, amazing work that takes place for all the students that go there. I'm going to start with that because that's really important, which makes anytime you get into these situations even more difficult when you're dealing with this. And I understand you're up against time. I know that it was, stated that that was the option that came out of the superintendent's meeting. And I concur that probably a majority of the people, not in a roll call fashion, but majority of the people all feel similar. At least that's what I got around the room, where they all do want to make sure that they support the work that you're doing. I could just speak for myself that I did indicate at that point and other times throughout this process that just like I would, because I also think that our teachers and our elementary schools or our secondary schools are doing excellent work too. And if we were running into something like this, we would want to look at all options. And I did kind of indicate that. And I understand what you're saying for sure, that some of these larger scale upgrades are things that you obviously feel will be very meaningful to the future of the building. But just like ours, I would think that if there were ways that we could make the building safe for an amount that maybe is a little bit more feasible, it was something that I had hoped to be considered. And I know we've talked about that. I don't want to misspeak that to be taken that I'm telling my board to go against what you're asking or go against New Horizon, because that makes it very difficult for me. Just the same as I would say if it was one of our buildings here that we would want to look at. We don't want to ever put anyone in something that isn't safe or that isn't remediated. That being said, sometimes we have to look at that. Where are we right now? Because there's other issues that could come up as well, not only for you, but for everyone. I've also said that when you're inheriting a 30-year loan, at least from my perspective of taking on buildings that are aging near that, and I think even Site Logic sort of mentioned this, that you won't have to worry about it for 20 years. But I think the point is we've seen this happen. Unfortunately, some things don't last as long as they used to. And so even in our own school system with relatively new buildings, we have seen, and I've mentioned that, where things are not lasting and we have to make major repairs. And so when you're paying debt and making those repairs, as you know, it will make it difficult. So that was another reason why I was saying that, not that anyone would want the payment to go up, but I was thinking in my mind, if we had an option that was significantly less, but made it safe and got it down to that point, and also maybe took it out for a lower amount, we would pay considerably less interest and be prepared to be able to, make those fixes. That's what I would be saying for my own school system. So I just wanted to make sure that I aired that. And I know that I'm not saying what you're saying is incorrect about a majority ended up going that way. And I also don't want, first of all, I appreciate your time, your work, your effort, your passion. And the last thing I want to make sure is when you're talking about savings that would be available should we send people out and that total package, looking at how it would cost more. I want to be clear that at no point is that something that we were interested in doing for these students. We aren't saying we want this to close, either are you. But what we are saying is maybe that number wouldn't be quite that number if we did an option that was a little less. It would stay open, and nobody, I think here, not the parents that are choosing to go there or administration, the people that get to visit, want to see anything else but, your your New Horizon building continue because you do great work. So I kind of wanted to end where I began. So I understand in all of this, when we do this, and it's always difficult decisions for all of us, and we all have a lot of opinions, and I certainly respect yours and why you're advocating for the total package. I just ask that you also understand and respect my opinion that, yes, I agree that we need to do something. We need to do something relatively quickly, and I could kind of support that, especially if you can't find rental space, to your point. I don't know if that's the case. I know you did some due diligence to try to find that. I know that. I know you would do that. I do hear what he's saying and the cost of that. But bare minimum, what I was hoping is that at some point there would be those types of options that would be there. But I understand that's not where it goes. And, you know, I just wanted to share my thoughts on that. And also thank you for presenting tonight and answering the questions.
Thank you for this board, and I really do wish you weren't here. I believe the option that was, selected, not only makes it safe, but also prevents them from not being able. And that's one of the other things that I really want to guard against is making sure that all the systems that fail, from the kitchenettes to the windows to the vinyl wallpaper to the HVAC, that it is in a spot where this will never happen again.
I do have one last follow-up question, Leaf, at least for me, if you'd be so kind to share. What were the remediation dollar amounts of the other two options?
Almost 8 months.
I do have,
Maybe 8 12.
yeah, the highest was 15. Yeah. I do have one question Dr. Pascarella reminded me of. When we talk about the 20 years, he was talking about that. Is that still being looked into if we potentially get grants or we get support from the legislators or anything like that? If that amount comes down or if the amount to repair isn't 20 million and it comes closer to the 12 or to the 15, can we, or are you looking at 20 years rather than 30?
He goes.
Okay.
Dollar amount. So everything's on the table right now as far as what it is, what I presented today. It's a scenario that you make some assumptions and you work through the details and understand that the assumptions change, the variables change, and then you assume that's the outcome. But yeah, but we're already making, headway into the grants with Katie. We are looking at a capital campaign, so that we can, work towards some philanthropic, groups and individuals, what have you. And, we're already making, in inroads with, the lenders, like, we started out as a small quarter, we have now down, I think it was low as 3.75. So, each step we get closer, and, the total end game is to get done what needs to be done and to make it the most affordable that we possibly can.
Thank you.
Thank you all again.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
I will bring the microphones back to Christopher.
Christian.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rosedale. This time, district residents may come forward to comment on agenda items only. Each person must state their first and last name and address prior to public speaking. Each resident will be allowed 3 minutes and can speak only once. This period for public comment prior to the standing committee reports will be limited to 1/2 hour. Although not required, board members desiring to address questions or concerns may do so after the residents' comments or questions or at the conclusion of the committee reports. There will still be an opportunity for residents to comment on any relevant business to the Ambridge Area School District under old and new business at the end of the meeting. Yeah, it's not working. Yeah,
There it is.
There it is.
there you go.
Okay, let's talk about the horizon thing. I think what you need to do is take a couple months and really get some research on this. Like just coming here at my meeting, give you a presentation, so get ourselves $3 million together, $30 million. So start money, I think we need to really look at how we're gonna spend it. And we're gonna, even if we're gonna make this horizon up anymore, I mean, let's just get the first. Then building and grounds, 127. I was here a couple months ago, and we discussed the patent that the table this, because we're at $2.3 million to do what you want to do here. We have teacher contracts coming up. And from what I understand, teachers are wanting to get up to around $100,000 in the next 3 years. If that doesn't occur, and this contract that you guys are trying to do, you're gonna have a strike with the A's. Then you're really gonna have a problem. So I think you guys really need to sit down, look at how you're spending this money. As far as the field house goes, why are we spending money on doing areas of reaching out? Take them out and be done with it. Because that building's over there should be a training facility. You have a gym that is still utilized. That over there should just be a training facility. If you want to waste money again, $16,000 to redo the Sun Girls softball field. Only have a maintenance crew. They can't go in there and put down some dirt. I mean, come on, $16,000. Well, how do you guys come up with these figures? So I'm hoping that they stand up and you guys are capable of this stuff until after the new board comes in, because I know this is your last couple of meetings, and then the new board comes in, and you guys want to get this stuff pushed into place, and then the new board stuck with it. We the people voted you guys in. So we the people expect you to make the right decisions for us, not for you guys. Not put your name on something and say, oh, look at me, I put this little picture up over here that we don't need. How many games have you guys won in the last 4 years? How many? Is it more than $1 million? I don't think so. Thank you.
I have a question. Have we looked into, to be honest, I've never thought about that, but have we looked into removing the bleachers out of the field house to make it into a training facility since they do not work? I mean, is that possible?
Part of the cost, and I don't know if it would change, part of the cost in that number is to demo those.
Okay.
And, there is a portion of that. to
You don't
do so.
remember what it is?
We've always, Ambridge has always used that for the boys' basketball, as long as I've known, and that's been something we have utilized for. I mean, to be clear for the public anyway, we put a variety of options on there. I'm not saying that's what was discussed last meeting, not saying that all or some, obviously not all. If some of those overlap, you wouldn't do, I don't think you would do both. I mean, I don't even see how you could. So I'm just pointing that out.
Do you remember how much of that was demolition by chance?
Well, I'd have to see if I have the quote here. It seems like it was. I'll have to see. I don't want to misspeak.
Okay. Well, just in the meantime, I'm going to take full responsibility and credit for, not credit, but responsibility for the field house being on the agenda this evening. And that is only purely because we have been talking about it for a very, very long time. And if we do not have the money to pay for the field house bleachers, then I do not see how we have the money to be paying for any other facility upgrades to any of our sporting facilities. So that is my personal reason for asking it to be on the agenda, because I wanted to see the numbers matched up and see exactly how much we were looking at for the field house, because it's been discussed so many times, and for the stadium. And realistically speaking, what I was looking for out of the field house is usable space for our sport programs to be able to practice, because a lot of the times we don't have enough space. So thank you for bringing that up because I honestly never really thought about removing the bleachers completely.
Sure, and thank you for that, Mrs. Ramasco. A couple other things I'd like to say in response to Mr. Cowell's commentary, which is appreciated. I know him well. And I know he makes these kind of comments because he cares, but I would say a couple of things. Number one, if you've been to a game this year, if you've been to a football game this year, you have seen footballs kicked into the bands, if not players into the band members. You have seen seats in the end zones. If you've been to the field, you know that there's not much room in those end zones. You have two people's bands, our kids, another district's kids. There's not a whole lot of real estate on either side. Those seats don't magically appear. I have personally witnessed our staff placing seats for most of the day and not doing whatever it is they probably are tasked or paid to do, but they were doing that instead. So I made it clear that for what I believe the most important reason in being safety, the situation that we've seen this year is not sustainable on that field, given the locations of our kids and the visiting district's kids. Number two, there are things I support on this list, and there are things that I'm not necessarily opposed to, but I think to your point, Mr. Kowal, we've learned how to live without. So I think you'll hear and I have heard I have heard some people, and it's in public meetings, so you can go back in if you want, but there have been proposals, suggestions to build nice things for the district. So when we proposed a building that cost $23,000, it was suggested that we build a building with visitors, not only stands, however, stands with a new concession stand that housed restrooms for the visitor side. We quoted that out based on some of the opposing members today, based on some of their requests, and those, I believe they were quoted at over 230, or it was well over $200,000. We'll leave it at that. So to the point of some of those members a few months ago that went on the record as saying they would like to build nice things for the district, things that match with the quality and integrity of the rest of our facilities, things that represent our district well, but most importantly, in my opinion, house and seat our kids and our visitors and our own people, which sit in it at least one time, sit in those stands at least one time a year, which if there are not stands there, I'm glad that I won't be on the field or in my seat to field that complaint whenever we have an outside graduation and they don't have anywhere to sit on the other side. But I think the most important thing to think about here is nobody cares about safety until something happens. We've seen that on how many fronts, right? Nobody cares until something happens. I don't believe that anybody was hurt over this past year, but I witnessed. Well, I don't know. Do we have any record of anybody being hurt?
I mean, not reported. I don't know if somebody might have caught a ball or something like that off.
I don't know.
You know,
I
got hit
haven't
by the
heard of
ball.
anybody
I don't know.
hurt.
Nobody brought
But
it to my attention personally.
I have seen balls get kicked into the kids, and I have seen, if not players, run into them, and it's just a proximity issue. So, yeah, I have visited a number of districts. I've seen bandstands, two smaller sets of stands. We've looked at that as options. The bottom line is, I feel like we have the lowest costed options available, and I believe that they're right sized for the district. So, but I would say to you that as you think through this, think about the safety of the kids and think about how you're going to navigate the lawsuit or whatever comes from somebody getting their teeth knocked out, or God forbid worse, if something does happen, because that's when we're going to care, right? So with that, I yield my time and it's all yours, unless anybody else has any other commentary on Mr. Kowal's point. Hi, Denise.
That you provided idea there. We have a lot of schools and a lot of things in Beaver County that we can move these schools, not these students to. We used to help them provide with not a common elementary for their yes, they had moved. We have space. We could flow space for you to give it all to the IU and let them pay off the tuition and make money for the district and pay the $1.3 million that we want for leisure by being fiscally responsible. That is a nice dream. $20 million for 25 kids, and I'm a special education teacher before I began in school, so I believe in special education. I believe in students. But we have to look at all of Beaver County and what needs to be done. What are alternative solutions? And while we play basketball for years that go up, some things have to change. We don't have $1.3 million to spend on nations. Do I want the kids to be safe? Yes. Get some alternative, movable bleachers, $200,000 bleachers, maybe $300,000, but $1.3 million from teachers, guys.
Well, just
Teacher every single day to the districts that are paying teachers. I appreciate student athletes. That I appreciate students first. I appreciate our kids being educated to the best that they can be done. But we have to pay teachers to do them. How many classes are sitting empty right now? Of teachers. Because we start paying at $40,000 to people that have master's degrees. All of our neighboring districts are around $65,000, just about. Like $1.3 million for teachers, yes. Do I think kids need to be saved on? Yes. But we have to think outside the box. We need to think about that $20 million, where it be, and we need to look at the district. We have space. How do we make revenue? How do we get the money that we need to supply everything to our students? State Street's an answer. You can go to kids from State Street to have an economy, not to harm any of our students and have a building that we can provide in Vermont. Because that's what schools need to exist. And they do cost a lot of money. We're paying $500,000, $32,000 to 35. I feel like being is here right now for a special ed student. Now that we look at that coming in, there's money that can be shipping. We don't need money public ed. We know that money can be shipped. The last thing that I have on the agenda tonight, we're looking at handbooks and policies. And we please look at policy. You're approving a handbook that is procedure. The procedure, graduation requirement, course approval, all of those different things are procedures. I do not need my freshmen to have a QPA as a procedure and not a policy. I do not need eligibility for kids equal a full year course where it doesn't exist in any other school. It's a class you take. We make kids ineligible in this district because we make it a procedure and you all approve the procedure. Make up policies as all other districts. Look at your 200s and adjust them. The policy should not be that the handbook, which is a procedure by administrators, equals to what our kids have. Because something can happen to you, something can happen to students. Luckily, we had the same administrator year after year. If the new one comes in tomorrow, they can cheat all of it and mess up all of our things in the future. Thanks.
Thank you, Denise.
Interesting, me as a parent, taxpayer, somebody who wants to be cares about the district and future direction of the headed. I apologize, no longer the weather man, so I started talking about myself. Insurance. So first and foremost, I just want to make you know that I'm not against progress, but I am for priorities. Now, let's think about priorities. Tonight, you're being asked to spend that exceed $1.3 million on research and projects for the fields in the district. To be transparent, that's on top of nearly the $100,000 that we've already spent to get the region done. Meanwhile, in the district, we still have transportation issues. We have classrooms, Latin basic supplies. We have teacher Latin adequate support. We have teacher contract negotiations for adequate partners. And we're asking our parents to provide our students with the basic necessities of classroom. When I went to Ambridge, when I came to school, I wanted to ask them, who's already in the school? Schools applied that because our parents paid tax dollars for our pension, for our payment, for all that stuff. It was paid by the district, by the parents, to our taxes. Now that works. So let me say, if we can rush to find $1 million for bleachers, seating, we should be able to find $1 million for our students. We should be able to find $1 million for our teachers. We should be able to find $1 million for our classmates. I like to consider myself very athletic. Some people think otherwise. I've always been in the athletics. I played football, I wrestled, boxed, martial arts, did a lot of stuff in my time. Now I coach. So I'm all for athletics and I'm all for supporting what we do for our athletics. However, those issues, it's a lot of money when we have other priorities. Let's start with your perception. Have you ever considered taking the area where the bleachers currently are, taking on this issue, paving over that area and plant seats, temporary bleachers for our band members, so that way we don't face them. That's how we have ways around it. The field house, things change over time. We can go without those bleachers. When's the last time we rented out the field house? Do we plan to rent the field house out? There's been many comments stating publicly that go against us renting out this is the football stadium because it will drive up costs through there. So if we're not going to rent the stadium, why are we going to put this in the stadium? It doesn't make sense. Now, we all say some of these, we want strong programs, we want great fields for our kids to play on. But those things cannot come at the expense of the classrooms, can't come at the expense of our teachers, and it can't come at the expense of our families within the community that already give so much. All brought to my attention today, and I'll be trying to get there, that our amateur football program is required to pay to utilize the stadium. I personally do not believe in our youth sports that one of the very programs that we utilize and have in place to keep our children engaged in the community and off the streets should have to pay to utilize the facility that their parents are currently paying and funding taxes. That stadium belongs to the community. And that is how it should be. Our students deserve to have supplies that they need to get an education. Our teachers deserve fair contracts. Our parents deserve transparency and ways of how their money is spent. So tonight I ask the board, before you approve another project, ask yourselves, does this decision put the students first? As someone who will be sitting on this board soon, but a lot of you guys, I again stress, I am not against progress, but I'm for priorities. And my biggest priority is our students. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Not words, say that money, something that's not strength academics, directly benefits students' education. Truth is, they do not know this academic issue competition, and that is something that we can change. We're changing, our teachers are working hard every single day, they need more support, better schools, stronger resources, help our kids reach this. The mission of the Ambridge School District is to be the bridge to lending and learning, caring students with a future through academic excellence. The political definition by ensuring our investments reflect those values. Imagine $1 million into a directed toward tutoring programs, reading and math interventions, mental health supports, all class, and new technology that truly prepares students for the future. That kind of spending lifts every student, not just those who attend the games a year. We all want to be proud of our schools, not just for what happens at the stadium plays, but for what happens in the classroom. Let's put academics first and make Ambridge a district known for its excellence in education. I urge the board to rethink this project and redirect these funds where they have the greatest impact, helping our students learn, grow, and succeed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, seeing no additional comment. We'll move on to the legislative actions. Finance and budget, Mr. Zatch. Would you like to make a motion to change it?
Before this is read, is how this New Horizon resolution reads, is it good with the 9 of us, how it reads and to vote on it? Or should we consider other amounts, options before it's read or amend it prior?
Like a different amount. I'm not okay with 20 million.
Should we read it?
I think we should
first?
discuss the amount as well. Yeah, the
Or
amount.
Amend or doesn't really matter. Okay.
What was the question, President Carpenter? Or is that,
Sure, please.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
I think
I couldn't hear your question.
my question was, do we need to read it first before we make an amendment? But I think as this is the first reading, I think we have time for discussion, right?
So we can
we would-
amend
we would-
after discussion?
Can we have discussion before?
Discussion?
We're allowed to talk.
Okay.
There we go. So I think in this case, we have an open discussion on what we think is the right thing to do and then make the proper amendment. I would say that I thought his cost of the options was fairly clear, 8, 12, 15. What is unclear in those options is what, I mean, the dollar amounts are there, but it doesn't really tell what it buys or what it does. But I guess each claimed to provide enough remediation to move back in the building. Is that right? Mrs. Ramasco?
From my understanding, from being on the BVIU board, from what the information that we were given, yes, you're asking if the other 2 options would have allowed them to get back into the building in time? Is that your question?
Yes, any one of those lesser options would provide enough remediation for them to move back into a safe environment.
So of course, I am no facility expert. However, from what was presented to me, I do not know about number one, but I am fairly confident that number two would have allowed them safe space to return to in the fall of 2026.
So really, as I see it, we have three options. We have an option to approve as written. We have an option to approve for a lesser dollar amount, and we have an option to table. And I think that's really the discussion at this point is which three of those options do we want to take? And if we want to take a dollar amount other than what has been listed, what do we want that dollar amount to be? What do we think is the right dollar amount? And Mrs. Ramasco, I asked for a little bit of your guidance on that subject, as you've probably been exposed, well, and Dr. Pascarella, the two of you have been exposed to more of that discussion probably than the rest of us.
Right?
Is there not a fourth option of just flat out saying no?
Sure, yeah, that's not.
I just want to
Yeah,
make sure
of
that's
course.
there to,
Yeah, you can always say that.
Denise. I think she's left, but to her point was how much did they explore around for different venues or different buildings, or another campus of some sort. So didn't sound like they did too much. I just feel like they're rushing this and pushing it through is, and if anything, they're just going to do it either way. So
I can speak a little bit to that. I know that they looked into purchasing the building in Midland. I do not believe that that is an option. However, I don't know how far out that has expanded as far as looking at other buildings or if there are any available currently. Obviously, are some that are at a low capacity, but are they available and up for sale? I do.
As we know, we do rent one room to them that was mentioned. So we do already do that and we're looking at possibly expanding that. Obviously, if you, I could hear their point of view, even though they're not here, that if you break that up all over, that might cost X or Y, but to the plan, you'd have to look into that and really see if it really costs more, because it may not at these kind of numbers. I mean, it may say, well, if you did have a traveling this or a traveling that administrator or other support services, it may not be as much as this. So, and I've kind of, as far as I was concerned, I think I pretty much laid out where I was at, and I wanted to do that so that, you know, both the public and Dr. Rosendale can hear. So that's kind of where I'm willing to answer any further questions, the best of my ability that you may have, but that was kind of where I was at.
I have a random question since Dr. Manganello brought it up. For visual purposes, since I'm visual, she mentioned State Street as a building, but let's just keep State Street as a generality. The size that he said, what, 96,000?
96,000.
Correct.
What's the size of State Street, just as a comparison, you know? Do you know?
Not off the, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, not off the top of my head. We did look into that somewhere before when we had that 15,000.
Might be a little less.
Yeah, because we looked at that when we were talking about that sense, whatever it was for site log.
Because he's also identified 96,000 square feet for roughly 130 students. That's a lot of space.
You know, the difficult situation in it regarding this is, you know, they do provide a lot of value and they do need to begin whatever they are going to do quickly in order to be back into a new building, or a remediated building, at least by the beginning of the school year. So, again, it's
President.
another situation where the timing just isn't in our favor.
He
Was
also-
that 15,000? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear. Dr. Filipowski, 15?
About that, we had to do
Okay.
a report recently. I don't have the exact number.
Yeah, around there. Okay.
So their facility would be, was that 7 times the size?
Yeah.
What, that one building?
5 times
Size?
the size, yeah.
So, Mr. Kovacevic, just to go speak to your point about the size, I do know that they have very small
Okay.
classroom sizes, very low teacher to student ratio because of the very severe needs that they do have there. So I think that has a lot to do with the size of the facility. You know, where you would typically be able to house a lot more students in a smaller space, you can't do that in this specific education situation.
He also mentioned today that they're replacing their HVAC with rooftop units that they just identified yesterday or today. That's going to be a solid 8 to 9 months until that's going to be able to be delivered, especially in the volume and quantity that they will need for that facility of that size. There's a good chance they won't be back in there to start the school year next year.
I was wondering too why Site Logic didn't observe that or see that when they did their walkthrough.
I think that's
for
a
the rest
really
of the
good
building.
point, Garrett, because we all have been through construction before. No matter what they do, there's a really good chance that they may not make that timeline anyway.
And there's a lot of governmental impacts that could occur over that
Mhm.
time period that slows the delivery of those units from coming in as well. The only reason is I'm very familiar due to a project at work where we needed HVAC units to be brought in, and it was delayed and then delayed again.
I just have a comment. During his presentation, he mentioned, we were talking about the dollar amounts. Dr. Rosendale said $15 million, and then he said that the GESA was going to do the overview and the oversight on the project. But yet he's looking for an additional $5 million on top of that. That just seems an extreme amount
I
of
took
money
that as-
more
Took that as
than
contingency.
the $15 million. And then my concern becomes, if that $5 million is sitting there, then it becomes like, oh, well, we have the money, so let's add this or let's add that.
I don't think 25% of your budget is contingency overruns.
I don't think it
But I
is.
don't do construction, but
I agree.
that's,
I mean, usually I think typically it's 10% that they,
and I realize 20 is going to be his ceiling and they're probably not going to spend that, but we have to provide ourselves with the worst case scenario.
This also locks us into a 20-year agreement with them potentially.
Well, essentially a 30-year.
30.
I said potentially. Which means, you know, as rates and things change and as he changes what his costs are associated to the student population and as students increase and decrease, there, you know, there's less of a, hey, we don't agree with this and more of this is what we have to do and this is what you have to do to support us.
Dr. Pasquarello, the rates that he mentioned, are those fixed? You're probably more familiar with
The-
construction, Bowen.
The rates that, the rates as far as interest that's going to be
Yeah.
paid. Well, to answer that, I could just say that what they do is when they amortize that out, I just know that that is the total cost. There are certain times, as we know, where you can refinance, but you can't just do that at any given moment. So
But if they didn't refinance, they're obviously not going to refinance higher. Those rates will be that forever. They won't go up. But like we did, we refinanced down.
to answer your question, to look at it exactly, I would think that it is simply fixed, but I have seen when you put debt together with other debt, you may pay a lot more interest on one issue
That's the
in a
average.
given year, and that's the average.
Okay.
So he didn't break that down to the exact, is that set year after year or how did that come out? I'm assuming that that is, you know, the average that they're figuring out on the total and what you would owe. And as you said, you add that up with the interest. It's a lot more than,
That question, if I'm not mistaken, that exact question was asked in one of our meetings. And again, don't quote me, I'm 99% sure it is fixed, a fixed rate. Because it is a loan in and of itself. They're not adding it to other loans.
It's not a prime plus
I
situation.
don't think it could, to your point, I don't think it could move, but I just don't know if it is staggered throughout given years. I don't know that.
That's possible, right?
Huh?
That's possible, yes.
I don't know that.
Right.
You know, and then there's certain times when they come up, that they can be refinanced, and it depends on what those rates are, but you can't do that at any given moment
Right.
because people are counting on that when they sold those bonds.
I have two questions. So if we say no, will that one stop the project altogether? And what does that do with our students? that participate. Might be silly, but our vote compared to the 13 other schools, if we say no, what's the next steps for our students?
I can, I can
Yep.
speak.
Go ahead.
Some of the school districts have voted so far. Many of them have not. It does take, is it a majority of the board and then 2/3 of the board members or the opposite?
It's 2/3. 2/3 of the schools.
2/3 of the
Two-thirds of the
schools
schools.
and then a
A
majority.
majority of the
of
members.
every member.
Yeah.
You added all the members up.
So if so many of us voted yes, and then the rest voted no, if it did not pass by Ambridge,
Mhm.
if 2/3 of the school districts pass it, then
Project
it goes through.
proceed.
It proceeds, yes. If 2/3 pass it, but not 50% of the actual voters
Mhm.
approve it, then it does not move forward. And if it does not move forward, when we have talked about this, if it does not move forward in the timeline, there is no other option. Like there, it's full of mold and asbestos as we saw. So I don't know that there is another option out there except potentially charging a higher tuition for our students to go there. Not
So-
just ours, but it would be across the board. So maybe your question is what happens to our specific students? I don't think our students necessarily would have their education interrupted because we voted a certain way.
Okay,
I think it would be what is going to happen to the whole county.
kind of both, yeah,
Yes.
twofold.
So again, trusting both of you in being very close to the subject, certainly closer than us. Do you know enough about this project and do you feel strongly enough about what you've heard to move forward at one of the other two options if we had been presented with them?
Go ahead.
Do you want to go first?
Go ahead.
I would say with the information that I have been given, I would have been personally much more comfortable with option 2. It is a significantly less amount of money. I believe from, again, what I was presented, it would have provided a safe environment for the students to reenter in the fall. I think that our buildings, as we know, need upgrades all the time. And as Dr. Pascarella said very, very well, it would be great to have the other things, sure. And it might prevent us from having to spend more money down the road. But in the moment we are in right now, where we literally just had a state budget pass, which I'm sure you don't even have all the details of yet, where we sit, I think that it's a very large ask of the larger school districts in Beaver County, of which we are one of. So I would have felt much more comfortable with a lower number. Do I feel that New Horizons needs to stay open? I absolutely 100% believe that it needs to stay open in its current location, only because I don't know that there's another location that would fit the needs of the school.
And so I would say to that question that you answered, pretty similar, that I, number one, want to see it open and flourish as it has, as I stated here. If it would have came up with the other couple options due to the time frame to get this moving for the kids to reopen, would I have liked to have a little bit more information, not just site logic running this and only them, and maybe looking at some different options in a little bit more detail? Yes, but would I have recommended option 1 or 2? And by the way, I remember, this is just my memory, which could be wrong, so I probably shouldn't say this, but my memory on option number 2 was more like 9.5, not 12, but maybe 10. So that's what I remember, but I don't have that. And we didn't have that out to share.
think
Maybe
you're right.
things changed on that and it went up, like you're hearing other things went up. I don't know. But at either rate, I would have said, yes, I recommend it if that's what you're asking.
All right. So I'd like to make a motion to amend number 1 to the option 2 amount, even though it hasn't been presented. Based on your input, Well, and the need and the belief that it is a good school that not only the whole community needs, but certainly our kids need. I'd like to propose moving, make a motion to replace 20 million with 12 million in both numerals and letters, and at the very end, last word replaced, presented with the word amended.
I'm sorry. Did you say our portion of 12 million? I missed what you said before 12 million.
Well, I didn't change any of the other writing.
Okay.
And again, I'm kind of running it all past you, right? So tell me if you think there's a better way to write it, but not to exceed 12 million
Okay.
and change the word presented to as amended. And that's just a motion. That's not
I'll second
saying.
the motion.
Okay, thank you. Roll, please.
Mrs. Farragonia,
Yes,
Wait, before, I'm sorry. Right now, we're voting on whether to amend it, just to be clear, not whether to approve it, right? Okay, thank you.
Mrs. Farragonia,
yes,
Mrs. Fisher.
Yes.
Ms. Fusco.
Yes.
Mrs. Kehoe.
Yes.
Mr. Kovacevic,
Oh, thank you.
Mrs. Ramasco,
Yes.
Mrs. Scott,
No.
Mr. Zaki,
No.
Mr. Carpenter,
Yes.
motion carries.
Yeah. Okay. New Horizon School Resolution 252606. A resolution is presented for adoption by the Ambridge Area School District, which authorizes the Board of School Directors of the Beaver Valley Intermediate Unit Number 27 as operating agent of the New Horizon School to incur debt in an amount not to exceed $12 million for the remediation of the presence of mold and asbestos present in the New Horizon School building. It is recommended that the resolution be approved as amended.
All right, any further discussion? Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll, please.
yes,
Mrs. Fisher.
Yes.
Ms. Fusco.
Yes.
Mrs. Kehoe.
Yes.
Mr. Kovacevic,
No, thank you.
Mrs. Ramasco,
Yes.
Scott,
I actually am saying no, and I love New Horizon. I want them to stay open, but I think that amount is extremely high, and I think it's something we just can't do right now. So no.
Mr. Zaki,
No.
Mr. Carpenter,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay, building and grounds, Mrs. Farragonio, but if I could say, Mrs. Farragonio, I would like to make a motion to separate 1 through 7 so that they're voted on separately.
Discuss separately as well.
Yes.
okay, read each one, discuss. and
Wow,
then vote.
that's a motion. Is
Okay,
there a second for that?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Okay, thank you. The ayes have it. I'm sorry, back to you, Mrs. Farragonio.
thank you. That makes sense. That'll be easier. So number 1, softball field resurface. It is recommended to approve a quote from Dura Edge in the amount of $16,764 to resurface the softball field through the state bidding process.
Okay, any discussion on that?
I'm sorry, this was probably discussed at a different time, but what exactly is wrong with the girls softball field?
I'll take first.
Go ahead.
Ron.
Yeah,
You
that's
could-
great.
You're
You
probably
guys-
going to be more
No,
technical.
That's better.
I'll tell you this, Mr. Kovacevic, really good question. My girls played on those fields for years. They are appalling. They're really bad. And I do believe that they are far outside of our staff's, far outside of an expert's ability to bring them into a acceptable condition.
Okay,
It's basically they scrape the top 2 or 3 inches off, they grade it.
Yeah.
They redo the plugs on the bases.
New
and then
drainage.
They bring in 3, 4 inches of dirt. I think it's crushed red brick, if I'm not mistaken, for that field.
It sounds like the fields need complete rehab.
Yeah,
this
these
point,
usually
just not
get
some
done every
addition.
4 to 5 years anyway. We do the baseball fields over there every 3, 4 years.
Okay,
It's a pretty fair price for this company as well.
thank you.
And we've
You
also
have anything?
made upgrades to the boys field, and this has been, there's a lip. I know that I had parents call me about that. It was causing some major issues for the girls as well. So that was another.
There used to be a guy that took pretty good care of those girls softball fields, but not, doesn't seem like anymore.
Can I,
Go ahead.
can I ask a question? Are we gonna purchase the maintenance agreement that we purchased with the baseball field through Door Edge?
I don't know, that we had intended on doing it at this given point. I'm not saying that we should or shouldn't. But that is not part of the quote right now.
Have you found it to be helpful with the baseball field?
Mhm.
I only ask because if we've gotten to this situation, I don't remember when the brick was installed or put in, but did we get to this point faster than we needed to? Because we didn't have professional, do you know what I mean?
I don't think
Professionals.
so, but I
Okay.
do think that I'm just, I don't,
No, I'm
I
asking.
mean, as others have said, I'm learning about baseball fields, as well. I'm not an expert in the field. What I will tell you is that our guys do a lot of work on those fields. But there does come a point where you have to have it professionally redone. You got to take the lip, you've got to regrade it, you've got to get the dirt, and then hopefully you can maintain it.
Sure.
I think the question is that you're asking about whether or not we should continue with that agreement. I think we should talk about that a little bit more with maintenance and others to see if that makes the most sense since we've seen it, or if we think, maybe not, maybe we don't need to commit to that.
And add that while our maintenance does do stuff during the season, the youth organizations that use it also, we maintain it because we don't pay to use it. So it's our give back as well.
Okay,
They're not neglected in any way.
good.
Well, like I said, those girls ones have needed done for a very, very long time.
Mhm.
Any other questions, discussion?
No, I recommend it though. I will say
Okay.
that.
Thank you. Did I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll, please.
Mrs. Farragonia,
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
Ms. Fitzko,
Yes.
Kehoe.
Yes.
Mr. Kovacevic,
Yes, please.
Mrs. Romasco,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Mr. Zaggy,
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter.
Yes,
Motion carried.
thank you.
Can I ask a question before we move on? We're separating these house, so now we're gonna read number 2 and vote on it, number 3 and then vote on it?
I think if you vote on option, I mean, it would seem to me that if you vote on number 2 and it passes, it
Okay, so my
it would
question.
seem to me that that would make option number 3 null and void, right?
I'm sorry. What did he say?
Way to do it though is to simply put it for motion, and if it doesn't get a first and or second, the motion fails. I think that's the cleanest way.
Or maybe I can help simplify that by asking a simple question. Administration wise, maybe you, Dr. Pasquarella, yourself, what is your recommendation, 1 or 2, and then with 6 or 7? So that maybe if you give your recommendation, we would take that weight and only have to vote on 1. But that's a lot easier as well.
Okay, sure. So, I'll start with 2 and 3. So as I see this, and we've had a lot of discussion around this, will I go on the minutes if you all decide that you don't want to do this and say that you per se made the largest mistake that you've ever made? No. And I will do that when I feel that way, as you guys probably know. However, I do think from going to the games and having the opportunity to be there, seeing the chairs set up in the end zones and not having that on the other side, I think that we should, as other comparable schools have done have a set of bleachers on that side. So for me, out of the two, I would pick number two. That would be me if you're going to do it.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Sure.
Would you if there was an option for supplying bleachers for the bands to sit in, would that have been an acceptable option? Or do you still believe that facility-wise, we need to have more bleachers over there? So aside from the band,
Well, can I take that in my opinion? And then she asked you that question, so I'll let you field it. But my opinion is, even if you had stands in the end zone, it doesn't change the proximity to the action. So from my perspective, the safety component doesn't change.
And from where I sit after seeing it, I think it is wise that even though it would be less expensive, less spend, I think it's still wise to have the bleachers as opposed to band bleachers in the corner for safety and other reasons. Just from being there.
I did not clarify.
We had that discussion a month
I
ago.
did not mean that. I did.
What?
I'm sorry, that's not what I meant.
She
I
didn't mean that.
meant bleachers for the band across the field.
Where
Where
the
the old-
previous bleachers were.
Correct. Thank you.
Oh,
I don't mean in the end,
Oh,
where I've seen that before.
yeah.
That's not what I meant.
Okay. So you're saying instead of just reducing, so you're saying we would just put a section of bleachers where the current bleachers, well, there's no current bleachers, where the old bleachers that were taken down are, where we were anticipating putting these ones, just
Correct.
put enough for just the band.
Yes, both bands.
I
Yeah.
would, go ahead.
Well, both bands. Put just so I understand it, a set of bleachers on the other side of the field for both bands.
Separately, yes.
Now, Mrs.
I'm just
I
asking a
don't
question.
think
not-
she, unfortunately, she's not here tonight, but I think, oh, she is, okay. Wasn't the 1298 seat option, wasn't that the most right-sized option for us?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what other people had, and
I guess
to
that's not
answer
what
your
I'm asking.
question,
Yeah.
I understand that it would be less expensive. My opinion would still remain that it would be better to have both the visitor side band and visitor side fans, in large part, if they chose to have a place to sit long-term. You were going to invest into it.
Okay, so you would recommend the other set of bleachers regardless?
As opposed to two smaller sets for the band,
Yes.
I would.
Okay. Thank you.
That's all we're talking about first, right?
Sure. That was, yeah.
And then was there another?
I was just at the same standard for 6 and 7.
Yeah.
If there was a choice.
So let me just hit 4 and 5 on the way down. Is that all right?
Well, I think those are kind of given. If we have a bleacher on number 2, you're gonna need the.
Well, you're right about 5. I think 4 for sure needs to be done.
Yeah.
You're gonna need to do either way.
So I'm just trying to
We
work
talked
through,
about that.
let me say this. That's why I want to come to 4. I really shouldn't have said 5. He's right. You don't have to do 5. So that could be its own discussion. But I do think 4 relates to anything, even if you don't do 2 or 3, you have to do 4. And what I believe we've confirmed multiple times is the 18.5 that saw cuts that, and gets the drainage, so on and so forth, needs to be done. And I can't say for sure, but the 18.5, we know the person is including that price as part of this project. So the chances of that possibly going up, I don't know. If they don't do the rest of the project, having to bid that out to somebody else, it may go up. Secondarily, I would just say on that as a piece of information that if you did nothing, I'm not saying anyone's saying that, I think you still have to do something in the form of grading and grass and something, I would think. That's your call. But if not, it's going to be mud. You understand? I mean, it's not going to be a great situation in my opinion, but obviously it's up to you. So I just wanted to say that 4, I think I also recommend that, no matter what you do. skip 5, go to 6 or 7. I would be honest with you. I wouldn't, let me be careful how I say this. I want to be honest. I would like to have that option and continue to utilize the facility to its fullest potential. I understand that. But at this time, I wouldn't recommend 6 or 7. Not saying ever, just saying
I mean, right now.
not right now. Priorities, as was stated by somebody today.
Did we run into a capacity issue for the football games this year?
That might be opinion. I don't think it was
Okay.
necessarily a capacity issue, but for the games that I went to, there were some that I felt they were crowded. That's my honest opinion. Walking around, they felt.
And clearly, if the kids were in the right seats, we clearly would have had a major capacity issue, which is why they are where they are.
Well, we know that because the first week we tried to do it that way, as you
Didn't
might,
work.
some of you might recall, and we got more, and that, I didn't think that would work from the beginning, but the idea of trying to do that was for the safety type things. And we tried that and that was not successful. There was too many people there in that game. Against, I think it was, that might even have been Western Beaver, not saying anything. I'm just saying that's not an enormous school district. I'm just being honest as far as that goes. Plus, when you think about bands, I just wanted to mention this from a view. Some bands have different size. Ours is pretty large, but you know, one time we played, I think that was West Allegheny or something, and they had a very, very large band too. So sometimes you're going to get into that where you might have these not enough room on that end to fit for sure, right? So it'd have to be chairs, or they need a larger section. There was a couple bands like that that were larger. Some aren't, but
Any other questions on 2?
I have one question, and we may have talked about this a little bit. Is there a lesser option for seating other than the 1298?
you know, we looked at that as the minimum when we talked about it as being comparable to other school districts like that.
Mhm.
I'm sure there's always something less. We didn't price that. That's this would be if you ask us to go do that, then we would, then surely we would do what you asked, but to date,
I'm just
nobody.
wondering for a cost savings, since we're going back and forth on a few options.
If that's
Do
what
we
the
have any-
direction you want us to look at. I will remind everybody, and this is by any means, am I not telling you to vote this tonight or not, vote no, do whatever you want. But we did get him to extend that price. Would he do it again and again? I don't know that answer. I'm not saying, I don't want you
Bless
to
you.
take that to mean, oh, he's saying you have to do it, you're forced on a decision. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just reminding everyone, we did get him to extend it 1 month. I'm not saying he wouldn't again, or he would. I can't answer that.
Do we have any updates on the grants that have been applied for, or like, are they a straight out no, or we just haven't heard?
Or are they opened?
Correct.
She's asked.
Yesterday, supposed to hear today.
Supposed to hear today, but hasn't heard back yet. That's what I heard.
From which one?
UPMC.
Okay.
Price is held till 12:15, she said, and she doesn't have any. left.
Price is held to 11:15 or 12:15.
12:15. I'm sorry, not 12:15, 11:15. She meant.
I'm not saying he wouldn't again. I just
Sure.
want to make sure I give you that information before you do it. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't.
And she said nothing from UPMC, but the other ones are not open, correct?
That was the last report. You could ask her again, but yes, that's what I heard her say, that they were supposed to hear in the next few days as early as today, but they didn't hear from UPMC. And the last time we talked, they weren't going to be open. I didn't think till after the holidays. I don't know if that's correct, Amy, if you want to ask her, the other grants like county or.
Start until after the holidays, correct? Michelle, besides UPMC. That's right.
And that was the one through the county as well as the NFL?
It's the county as well as the other one,
NFL.
NFL.
Could we get an update before next week?
I know the county
Can she reach out?
The
Before-
county opens in January, NFL, she's heard nothing yet about when that would open.
The
And
cap-
UPMC, would she be able to reach out there to find out?
She said she would.
She spoke.
Oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
That's
Okay.
Yeah, she spoke to him today. He was supposed to hear something back and did not.
Could we send communication if we could get information on that before our next board meeting next week?
So we have any too late for them to by the next.
The deadline. His
I mean,
deadline.
only by a couple days.
Yeah.
but- Mhm, agreed. Yeah. Yeah, she said she could certainly try to reach out, but the pricing would not be held, is that right?
Because he
Would
said it
be
was
3
till
days short,
15,
yeah.
would be 3 days, so.
Ish. So I do want to take a moment, though, to thank everybody for all of the pricing. President Carpenter, you spoke of all of the requests for pricing, and for those people that you believe that are against this going through. And one of them was the $200,000 or $300,000 one. I'll go on record in front of everybody. I asked for a lot of pricing because I feel like we needed it. The board needs to know all of our options. We need to know what we're voting on. We need to have prices available to us. Do I think 200 and some $1,000 for a concession stand with bathrooms is acceptable? Absolutely not. But did I want to know how much it would be? Yes, I did. I need to have an informed vote in front of me. So there are a lot of options, and you guys did a tremendous amount of work preparing this. So I do thank you very much for all of that.
Any other questions? All right, do we have a motion?
Wasn't read.
And read number 2.
Go. Mrs. Farragonio, you want to read number 2, please?
Sure. Number 2, visitor bleacher option 1. It is recommended to approve the proposal from Stadium Solutions for the installation of 1,298 seat bleachers as described in option 1 at a total cost of $590,230 through the state contracting pricing. Option number 3, or number 3. Are we going to vote?
Yeah, let's say we're taking those one at a time. So did I hear a motion by you, Mrs. Farragonio?
Motion to approve
Yes.
option number 1, which is number 2.
Number 2.
Motion
Does
to
she
approve
have
anyone?
any? He doesn't have to be the one to do it.
Yeah, you don't have to be. the
You
one.
don't have to.
Yeah,
be-
I'll make the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll, please.
This is for number 2,
This is for number 2.
meaning
Option 1.
option
Option
1.
number 1.
Number 2 on
Yes,
the agenda.
Number 2 on the agenda.
Can I just say something real quick? I'm sorry.
Sure.
We talked the last 10 minutes about grants. I don't know too many grants that reimburse. We put this money up front, we get the grant. They're say you already did that, you already spent the money, you don't need it. You can't plead that you need the money to do a project when you're already paying for it and doing it. Keep that in mind when you vote. Thank you.
Couldn't agree
I would
more.
also add that it was mentioned that UPMC, if we were to partner with somebody, would like to see something comprehensive and a full plan.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you
We
said.
still don't have it.
Phil, I'm sorry.
I said it was mentioned that if we would partner with UPMC or someone else, that they would want to see a full comprehensive plan versus just saying, yes, we'll support that without seeing anything in front of them.
Mrs. Amadeo, if you could ask her if she believes that this would preclude us from applying for any of the grants that she's been speaking with?
They're not open.
I can't really answer that, I'm not real sure, at best.
Anybody can apply for a grant.
But-
If you meet the standards of it. It's, what are the chances of them even giving us the serious look at it if we've already spent the money? That's my opinion, of course. So
Agreed.
We need a roll. Yeah.
Mrs. Farragonia,
No.
Mrs. Fisher,
No.
Ms. Fitzgerald,
Yes.
Mrs. Kehoe,
No.
Mr. Kavasevich,
No, thank you.
Mrs. Romasco,
No.
Mrs. Scott,
No.
Mr. Zachary,
No.
Mr. Carpenter,
Yes.
motion fails.
Okay, thank you.
Number
Yeah,
3,
let's keep going.
going down. Number 3, visitor bleachers, option 2. It is recommended to approve the proposal from Stadium Solutions for the installation of 1,580 seat bleachers as described in option 2 at the total cost of $736,575 through the state contracting pricing.
Second. Sorry, I'm sorry.
I
I
didn't
thought
hear
you said,
motion.
I'm sorry. I'll motion.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Roll, please.
Mrs. Farragonia,
No.
Mrs. Fisher,
No.
Ms. Fitzgerald.
No.
Mrs. Kehoe,
No.
Mr. Kavasevich,
No, thank you.
Mrs. Romasco,
No.
Mrs. Scott,
No.
Mr. Zachary,
No.
Mr. Carpenter,
No.
motion fails.
Mrs. Farragonia.
Okay.
Mrs. Farragonia, before you start on this one, I would like to say that maybe, and I don't even know what to say on the not to exceed, but I'm going to, 2 things I'd like to say on this next one, if you don't mind, before
Mhm.
you make any motions. One, I think that we should do this no matter what. I said that a little while ago.
Mhm.
Secondarily, I don't know what to say as to not to exceed because I don't know what that is, but I guess we're in a little less of, I guess, of a rush now. You know, as I said before, I never meant to rush anyone anyway, but as long as we all understand how we voted when everyone says nothing was done. You know, that's how there will be people out there that say that. But anyway, I guess my point on this is there's 2 ways of doing it. We could just, if we voted, if you folks decide to vote it down, because I have no idea what to say not to exceed, because we'd have to go out and get new pricing for that. I would just ask that there's clarification whether or not you want us to get pricing to do that.
I personally would. I would
I
like to
guess we'll see. I guess my point is it's very hard for me to say, yes, go ahead and vote on it, because I don't know that that price will be that now that we didn't do the other part of the job. So if you say, yes, yeah, we're for that because you said we should do that no matter what, I'm making that up. I can't guarantee what that price is. And then that may or may not change whether or not somebody wants to vote on it. If you get a new price that is higher, do you understand what I mean? I don't, so
Right.
I guess
Are we allowed to
If
get other
so-
quotes from different
Yeah.
companies now?
If I could cut in here, can I just say something? I'll make a motion at table 4
Thank you.
through 7. With
Thank
the
you.
idea that number 4 be explored for options on what to do and then pricing gathered, whether it's paved
Second.
drainage or grass.
both, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's.
table 4 through 7 motion.
Second.
We all did.
We
no?
also, yeah.
Okay. Roll, please.
Farragonia,
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
Kehoe.
Yes.
Mr. Kavasevich,
Yes, please.
Mr. Romasco,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Mr. Zachary,
Yes.
Carpenter.
Yes.
Motion
All right. Steering and rules, Mrs. Kehoe.
Item number 1, policy 2001, admission of students, first and final reading. It is recommended as a first and final reading to revise policy 201, admission of students, to establish age requirements for the admission of students to first grade and to kindergarten that are consistent with state law regulations. And what this does is put a date in there instead of just saying by the first day of school, since the first day of school fluctuates from year to year.
And Mrs. Kehoe, and these updates come from PSBA, correct?
Most of them.
Most of them come from PSBA. Dr. Pascal, actually.
They do, but
That's
the
you, I'm
challenge on
sorry.
this, and this has been typical in a lot of school districts. Some districts will say that you fill that component in, and most school districts will either say the first day of school, which is what we have done for a long, long time here, and other districts have to. Others will just set that date for 9/1 so that it's always the same. It doesn't look like it might benefit somebody with one birthday, 1 year, and another birthday, another year. It's just set in stone. So what our principals are asking as we proceed, then it will never really matter about what our calendar ends up starting us at. It'll be 9/1, and I'm fine with that. If you think about it, most of the time we were starting in August, so it's not taking anything away from anyone. All it would do is allow more people. So you know what I mean?
Mhm. Yes.
So that's why they want to do it. And then as they're advertising and people are asking them, can I enroll or not enroll? We don't get into these debates. The date's 9/1 and that's it. And that is typical in many districts as well. I don't know if you're half or whatever, but I know I've been in districts both ways. So I'm fine with it. It's something that I always tell them, if you are going to do it, we have to do it now though. Right now, that's why we're waiving the reading, because as they go to enroll and somebody comes and says, making this up, my kid's birthday's August 30th. Well, we'd say, well, it depends when school, the calendar's not done. You might be able, and then they're trying to make plans. Whereas if you approve this now and they go and they say 9/1, then 9/1's the day and it's not going to change. So I think especially since it's not going, at least in the most recent years for a while, it's not taking anything backwards. There used to be a few places a while ago, which I personally don't recommend, that started after Labor Day. Well, this could bring it backwards, right? But as of late, at least all the years here in most places, we are not starting that late. So therefore, it's not hurting anybody. It's only helping everybody and it will be consistent. So I support their recommendation to do it.
Thank you.
Okay, so I would like to make a motion to accept item number 1 as presented this evening.
Second.
Thank you. Roll, please.
Eric,
Yes.
Mrs. Fisher?
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Oh, I didn't even
Dr.
say-
Pascarella, just to make sure, state regulations are identifying 9/1, or that's just the example you were providing?
Most of them, your choice is when PSBA will say it. It's either their first day of school or they'll say 9/1. I think there's a regulation that says the latest it could be. I don't think, and I haven't used that. I've never been a part of like a delayed start because of construction or anything like that.
I was just asking for the classification of it being 9/1, to your point, identifying the exact date regardless of what the state may have to say, but keeping it within the regulation of the state. So if 9/1 is not as strict as the state, we just make it 9/1.
Correct. I think if I understand your question, yes, but I would say that's very typical when it's usually like a choice or something that people do. They either
We made a choice with our daughter. That's to hold her. She had a July 19th birthday. We held her back here. So that's the only reason I was asking.
you could still do that, but it's not like you have to. If you have a
Right.
summer birthday, you could still decide that you're not going to enroll them. This is just the minimum age. You have to be at least.
That's what I wanted.
I know what you mean. I did the same.
Yep.
Believe you run, Ms. Fitzko.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Mrs. Kehoe.
Yes.
Mr. Kavasevich,
Yes, please.
Mrs. Romasco,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Mr. Zaki,
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Personnel, Mrs. Scott.
Thank you, President Carpenter. All new hires pending receipt of satisfactory and current clearances, satisfactory drug screening, TB testing, responses by current/former employers to Act 168 screening, and PDE certifications if applicable. 1, it is recommended to retroactively hire Kylie Ryan as a social worker at the Ambridge Area High School and Highland Elementary School at a salary of $50,981. Step 1 master effective November 6, 2025, as per the terms of the Ambridge Area Education Association AAEA/PSEA agreement. Number 2, it is recommended to retroactively hire Glenn Freed as the part-time assistant athletic director effective October 20th, 2025, with compensation set at $35.50 per hour for up to 2 hours per day and a $80 stipend per night when periodically covering a sporting event. Number 3, it is recommended to retroactively hire Stephanie Nolan as the Highland Elementary part-time secretary for 5 hours per day and 5 days a week, effective October 29th, 2025, as per the terms of the negotiated agreement between the Ambridge Area School District and the Ambridge Area Education Support Professional Association, ESPA/PSEA-NEA. Number 4, it is recommended to retroactively hire Cecily Frederick as a non-union food service assistant at the high school effective October 27th, 2025. Number 5, it is recommended to approve the resignation of Sarah Yanessa from her position as an Ambridge Area Middle School exploratory language teacher, all grade levels, effective November 5th, 2025, with regret. The district reserves the right to retain the employee for 60 days statutory period or until they are relieved of duties, whichever occurs first. Number 6, it is recommended to rescind James Barton as the girls' basketball assistant. Number 7, posted positions, clubs, and activities. It is recommended the following individuals who have applied for the specified posted positions for the 2025-2026 school year be approved at the rate as per the collective bargaining agreement, provided the school year allows and sponsors are able to hold activities as normal. Activities, clubs at the high school: bowling, Joe Bellinger, volunteer; HOSA club, Eric Harbison. Activities and clubs at the middle school: Dungeons and Dragons Club, Mason Zabreski. Number 8, FMLA, it is recommended that employee number 2927 be approved for a leave of absence under policy 535, family and medical leave, beginning January 7th, 2026, not to exceed 12 weeks. Number 9, it is recommended that employee 3096 be approved for a leave of absence under policy 435, family and medical leave, beginning January 5th, 2026, not to exceed 12 weeks. Number 10, it is recommended that employee 2323 be approved for a leave of absence under policy 435, family and medical leave, beginning February 9th, 2026, not to exceed 12 weeks. Number 11, it is recommended to approve the individuals listed as operators, attendance, and maintenance for ABC Transit Incorporated for the 2025-2026 school year, pending receipts of current clearances, satisfactory drug screening, TB testing, and responses by current/former employers to Act 168 screenings. Aides: Patricia Allen, Lily Walmsley, and Haley Clear. Van driver: Brian Wilson, Christine Fletcher. The following are sub-drivers who will fill in or cover trips and charters for this school year: Ed Armstrong, Peggy Beaver, Jane Casey, Boyce Gitson, Charles Neese, Brenda Leslie, Gunther Lill, William Stevenson. 12, it is recommended the following individuals be approved to fill the designated coaching positions for the 2025-2026 school year at a salary as per the terms of the collective bargaining agreement, pending receipt current clearances, satisfactory drug screening, TB testing, and responses by current and former employers to Act 168 screening, provided the school year allows coaches to hold sports as normal. Number 1, track and field: James Sims, head coach. Number 2, girls basketball: Nathan Smith, girls basketball assistant coach. Any questions for 1 through 12? Make a motion to accept 1 through 12.
Thank you. Roll, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Cisco?
Yes.
Tito?
Yes.
Mr. Kavasevich?
Yes to everything but number 2. Please. Number 2.
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Najee?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Legislative, Ms. Fitzgerald.
I have one item this evening. I would like to move for the adoption of number 1, the Number one, Beaver County Career and Technology Center Articles of Agreement. It is recommended to approve the Articles of Agreement between the Beaver County Career and Technology Center and the participating districts. Any questions?
Second.
Okay, roll please.
Mrs. Farragonia,
No.
Fisher,
No.
Ms. Frenchco.
No.
Ms. Kehoe,
No.
Mr. Kavasevich,
No, thank you.
Mrs. Romasco,
No.
Mrs. Scott,
No.
Mr. Zachary,
No.
Mr. Carpenter.
No.
Motion fails.
All right, thank you very much. Moving on to the committee reports and the non-voting items. Mrs. Romasco, Education and Technology.
Thank you, President Carpenter. Number one, Ambridge Area High School course selection. It is recommended that the 2026-2027 Ambridge Area High School course selection book be approved. Number two, Ambridge Area Middle School course selection. It is recommended that the 2026-2027 Ambridge Area Middle School course selection book be approved. Number three, Seton Hill University College in High School dual credit agreement. It is recommended to approve a 3-year college and high school dual credit agreement between the Ambridge Area School District and Seton Hill University. This term of agreement shall be July 1st, 2026 to June 30th, 2029. Number four, Global Wordsmith Language. It is recommended to approve a 2-year agreement between Ambridge Area School District and Global Wordsmith Language Services to provide interpretation services. This is at no increase in cost. Any questions on any of those 4 items or discussion?
I would actually like to bring up what Dr. Maganello brought forward about policy versus procedure. Can we get a little more information on that or take a look at those for next week? Because I would hate for the kids to be ineligible for sports just because of a way of policy or procedures.
I agree, but go ahead.
What do you agree about?
Just that there are certain procedures and certain things that are listed in the course selection books that are not in our policies. It seems to be that there are policies missing. So when a parent is referred to the handbook, they often ask for where is that policy in your school board policies or in your school policies, and there is no number of a policy to refer them back to. And so, obviously they signed the paper for the handbook. There's still no corresponding board policy that goes along with that. So when it comes to things like,
For handbooks, you're referring to, this is the course book, but we could come to handbook, which happens in the
sure,
summer.
it comes soon.
So, and I'll get to that in a minute, but in particular, I was interested in to hear why you agree about the course.
Oh, sorry. No, I thought she was,
But
I thought
we're-
Ms. Fitzko was talking about the handbook.
Well,
Well, this says course book, and I think what she was talking about was eligibility with.
right, but she also said that it has to do with the course selection that the kids take.
She did.
So it kind of goes all together.
It does. So to your point, what I'm saying is, I'm not sure. I'd like to hear more specific what she's talking about in the course book. Or if you guys have an opinion in the course book where you think it needs to be 100% policy. We did a large presentation a while ago. I think many of you were on here about changing, and that was what the board wanted to do. We put that right into this. You do vote on this every year.
Right.
100%. So I guess taking the time to align, if it's about grade point average as an example, which I thought we made that more conducive, and that was what people wanted for the kids, to give them the equal or advantage. And so,
But do we have a policy for it?
well, I'll have to go and double check to see. What I'll say in general, when you're talking handbook, we have policies that say, here are our weapons policy, and then this gets into a little bit more detail. You do approve both of those. You would approve a policy and you would approve this.
Right.
Where I think, you're talking about administrative regulations or administrative control. That's why we have, personally, this is what I would say, that's why you need to vote on these. Because then you voted on it. We didn't change that without you voting on it. And if we did make a change, we make the changes, highlight the changes, show you the changes, and then you vote on it. Because otherwise you would just hand people policies and you wouldn't have that. And everywhere I've pretty much been, this gives you a little bit more detail. Policies, as we were saying earlier, I think it was Mrs. Fisher who asked, come from PSBA and they're recommended from there. To start rewriting those all on your own. Number one, we have solicitors that work for PSBA that do that for the entire state. That's part of your membership that align to state laws as they do that. And your specifics for each district underneath that policy that fits that. For example, we've had that on disciplinary measures where you have decided to not really change the entire policy. However, you yourselves have changed the procedures within the discipline book, So I guess I heard what was said and I'm not debating that. I was just wondering if any of you had the inside to know specifically, there. But either way, what I'm saying is I always have you vote. Every board I've ever been with votes on both the course book and the handbook, both, because then that's official. What I heard her say is almost like that gives too much power. If Dr. Pascal leave or this person left, they could just change it. It's always been my belief, and that might be true where someplace everywhere I've been the superintendent. No, I want you to approve this because by approving it, then you've also supported that and agreed to it, right?
Whether you
As
leave
we
or not,
implement.
right.
So I wouldn't change this without no, you might change, I'm saying. And we try to highlight those too. If it comes in the middle of the year where we change, the new secretary's name in the book, sure. You understand what I mean? Names and dates and those kind of things, but nothing of substance did we ever say, we're changing this. And it didn't come to you to vote in my time anywhere I've been. And if it's happened, that's, I guess, what I want to know. If principals are changing this, which I doubt, but if they're changing something without bringing it to me, without bringing it to you, well, that's not what we want to do. For example, we know that we want to have a discussion at some point, maybe not today, but it's going to have to come pretty soon in and around our attendance around coming in for a dance. So if we want to change that as a board, which I think you kind of have, it's not going to matter anymore if you come to school or not, layman's terms. She can't change that on her own, and I wouldn't want anyone else to change it. Furthermore, if you're going to change it, which it got changed, then you should vote on that. We had a lot on here today, but pretty soon we're going to be coming up on another dance, and I suggest that Mrs. Mueller and Dr. Filipowski make a note, as that is an example. We're going to need to get that back on there to change, to try to indicate what you all have decided. But vice versa, we don't do that. If it says it in there, we don't just change that on our own. We want to bring it to you so that you are aware and you support that.
Well, and back to her point, even if somebody new came in to your spot and did want to change it, if it was approved by the board, they can't without going back to the board, right? And
I don't know that. I guess my point to her would be, that may be true in some school systems that there's no law. Policy has to be approved, but the actual handbooks and course books could just be done by administration, and they could just make those changes on their own, and it is what it is. In my 14, 15 years, I've never done that. No way. Not in any school. The board's going to know, because that's what puts us all on the same page. I'd rather you say ahead of time, hey, I don't agree with that. I'm not going to go for that. I'm not going to support that. Same with me. I want the same thing too. If I'm not going to support the change, then I would tell them right then, I can't support that. You understand what I mean? Because once we do that, then we should all be supportive of what's in there. And then if we need to reevaluate it at the end of a year, we reevaluate it and then we say, okay, I do think there probably are school systems. I'm not aware, I don't want to say, I don't ask, that their administrators might just change it and then they make the change and that's the change in the handbook and that's it without the board vote. Because I think board does policy, they don't do procedures. I think she's correct in that. I'm just explaining to you in our time, my time. That's all I could speak. And maybe that's what she meant. Well, that's fine. That's how you do it, Joe. But, if you left, the next person might not run it up. That's what I almost think what she meant.
Yes.
So, I just think to take if that's what you really want to do, my theory would be more that instead of trying to write every single thing into a PSBA policy, maybe the edit for the solicitor to consider is at least in Ambridge at this given time, any changes to the handbook other than typographical would need to be brought to the board for their vote. I support that. That's what I would recommend and that's what I do. But that might eliminate that from them saying, well, Joe falls down the steps and he's gone, next guy can't just come in and say, well, change it. Does that make sense? I don't know if that's what she meant, but that's what I took her to mean. And I can see how but to try to rewrite PSBA policy in its entirety to fit everything in all these books would be difficult. You'd almost have to take the whole thing and then call it your policy, which so if I understood her correctly, which I think maybe I'm understanding that people can do that and she wants it in policy so that it can't change. I would say that for the purpose of passing selection books and handbooks, they should be brought to the board other than
And we would need a policy to state that, is what you're saying, maybe.
if you want one. I don't know that you need one. I defer to the solicitor. I mean, I think that's what she's saying. If there was an example of that happening, I'm not aware of it.
You don't need one, you can have one.
But I wouldn't, my recommendation, that's the lawyers, I would not recommend going to every PSBA policy, trying to go through every piece of this handbook and then try to reiterate that and reapprove that every day. That you have to have some administrative discretion. That is something that you can't completely take away, in my opinion. I'm big on being consistent, but there still has to be some discretion on the punishment that's going to be there. Does that make any sense? So
Ms.
I
Fitzgerald,
worded,
do you want to clarify what you originally asked for?
I just wanted to piggyback off of what Dr. Maganello said, just to make sure we had some carryover and that things are being looked at. But I would ask, since you did bring up the dance policy, if we could have something to look at next week for possibly changing that, if everybody's.
yeah, I know that she was working on that and that I think it's more or less, I'm gonna be upfront with you. I think it's more or less her opinion as why it should be the way it was. The way I understand it though, at the close of that is we would be, June, make a note. I'd like you to provide them with her feedback as soon as possible. But what I ultimately heard is that's fine as far as her feedback goes, but ultimately you're looking for a change in the handbook. So June, that would need to be added. And the change in the handbook would simply strike everything and say there is no attendance. We could say that a little bit better, but generally speaking, attendance doesn't matter as far as whether you're going to go to a dance or not.
Attendance the day of, are we talking about?
Day of, or day before, day in, doesn't matter. That's what
I
happened.
think we need that. No, I don't.
Huh?
I
I wouldn't think that's what we
No,
said.
I don't agree with that either.
Okay. Well, what happened that, I guess, it's fine, it's public. I don't have a problem with it. What I remember is some people came in late and the idea was they can't come in. If they come in late, they couldn't go to the dance. That was the
Right.
perspective. And so other folks come in late and, they should be allowed to go. So is it just if you're late? I'm not trying to restart this all at this given point, but I do want to tell you it's coming very, very quickly because the dance is coming and we have to know the answer. Otherwise, we'll just stay. What I think ended up happening was if you showed up late or tardy or you missed, you were still allowed to go. I mean, that's what happened.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion was going by what attendance policy is for athletes or anybody else. If you're there by 11,
Correct.
that was my thought on, I think.
Same.
Yeah, I never said attendance didn't matter, but I know in our surrounding districts, it's half a day on the day of.
Well, I didn't mean didn't matter. What I meant in that, so I want to clarify what I said. I'm not saying you guys said attendance didn't matter. I just meant that the regulations that were listed in the handbook didn't matter. You were going to allow them to go. We didn't specify if you were late, you got to go. And I even asked further, if somebody didn't show at all, are they allowed to go? And that is what happened. So whether that was misinterpretation over the phone, trying to understand that or not, I don't know. But the point is, these are the kind of things that need to be put in so that we do know. If your answer is it's the same as athletics, okay. You have to be there by a certain period or put a half day in. If that's, I mean, I see some heads shaking, but you need 5 shaking that way. If that's the idea,
My opinion.
then that's what we'll do. But that should be changed. So I guess what we'll do is bring a couple samples from what I'm hearing let you have the feedback, and then you could decide which one, or modify that on the floor as the way it's going to be, and we'll inform people. Does that make sense?
All right, very good. Finance and budget, Mr. Zatch.
Number one, school district monthly bills and salaries. It is recommended that the monthly school district bills in the amount listed, as well as school district personnel salaries in the amount listed, be paid. Cafeteria monthly bills. It is recommended that the monthly cafeteria bills and salaries both be paid in the amounts listed. Number three, Allegheny Intermediate Unit Joint Purchasing Fuel Consortium Resolution to 2026-2706. It is recommended to adopt Resolution 2026-2027-06, which authorizes the district to participate in the AIU Joint Purchasing Fuel Consortium Program for the 26-27 school year at no cost to the district. It is further recommended that the president and board secretary be authorized to sign the related joint purchasing board resolution. And number four, for Berkheimer, it is recommended to authorize the per capita tax collection agreement with Berkheimer as the current collector, delinquent collector, and tax hearing officer pursuant to the local taxpayers' Bill of Rights, and adopt an Act 20 schedule of fees. Are there any questions? Mr. Clerk.
All right, thank you, sir. Building and grounds, anything to cover, Mrs. Ferragonio?
No, no non-voting items at this time.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Fisher. Athletics.
Thank you, President Carpenter. I have one item. Number one, WPIAL. It is recommended to approve Marina Baker to represent the Ambridge Area School District as an independent individual WPIAL gymnast. The board further authorized Terry Gazda to serve as her sponsor coach at all practices and meets. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
I have nothing this evening under public relations.
We're legislative. Do you have anything on?
Let's say,
Okay, very good. Thank you, Ms. Fitzgill. Mrs. Kehoe, steering and rules.
Item number one is the reorganization meeting. It is recommended that the reorganization meeting be scheduled for Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the high school auditorium. Item number two, December board meeting. It is recommended that the monthly meet and discuss meeting and board meeting be scheduled for Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025, immediately following the reorganization meeting. Item number three is policy 113.1, discipline of students with disabilities. It is a first reading. It is to update the policy, discipline in students with disabilities. This policy was reviewed with current state and federal legal provisions. The language of reporting on school safety and security incidents was updated based on the technology changes from the school code. The provisions addressing coordination with law enforcement agencies and submitting the annual report to the PA Department of Education were also revised, and the legal citation references were updated to align with current school code. Are there any questions? Item number four, policy 113.2, behavior support, first reading, is to update the policy 113.2, behavior support. This policy was reviewed with current state and federal legal provisions. The language on reporting of school safety and security incidents was updated based on the terminology changes from the school code. The provisions addressing coordination with law enforcement agencies and submitting the annual report to the Pennsylvania Department of Education were also revised, and the legal citation references were updated to align with current school code. Are there any questions? Item number five, policy 320, freedom of speech by employees, first reading. It is recommended to revise the policy 320, freedom of speech by employees. Detail has been added to this policy to facilitate acknowledgement of the freedom of rights of school employees and the indications as to when such speech may impact efficiency or constitute a reasonable likelihood of disruption. Any decision in this regard must include consultation with the school solicitor. Are there any questions? Item number six, policy 718, service animals in schools, first reading. It is to update policy 718, service animals to schools to specifically include the only permissible questions a school entity may ask regarding an individual requesting the use of a service animal, as well as those inquiries and requests that a district may not ask. Any questions? Item number 7, policy 102, academic standards, first reading. It is to update policy 108, academic standards, to adopt the new 2025-2026 state standards for science, environment, ecology, technology, and engineering across all grade levels, with a planned update next year to include the personal finance and financial literacy requirements for the 2026-2027 school year. Are there any questions? Item number 8, policy 105, curriculum, first reading, is to update policy 105, curriculum, to include a new section addressing special instruction and observances to ensure compliance with state and federal laws, such as those mandating Constitution Day, Bill of Rights Week, and various PA historical and environmental observances that promote civic, historical, and cultural awareness. Any questions? Item number 9 is policy 122, extracurricular activities, first reading, to revise policy 122, extracurricular activities. Authority section states that the board shall make school facilities, supplies, and equipment available and shall assign staff members for the support of extracurricular activities for students. Such availability and alignment shall be in accordance with the Equal Access Act and other applicable laws, regulations, and board policies. Any questions? Item number 10, policy 122.1, non-school sponsored student groups, first reading, is to adopt policy 122.1, non-school sponsored student groups. Excuse me. The policy addresses the requirements regarding the provision of equal access to non-school sponsored student groups. It is important to note that this policy to separate and distinct from the subjects below. Extracurricular activities that are sponsored or approved by the board are governed by policy 122, extracurricular activities. Non-school organizations, groups, and individuals initiating a request for the use of school facilities or dissemination of materials are governed by policy 707, use of school facilities, and 913, non-school organizations, groups, / individuals. Any questions? Item number 11, policy 918. Title I, Parent and Family Engagement, first reading. It is to revise policy 918, Title I, Parent and Family Engagement, to ensure compliance and accountability for federal Title I funds by requiring dated agendas and sign-in sheets for meetings and adding mandated district level and school level attachments to formalize specific actions taken to engage parents and families. Any questions? That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you very much. It's been a long night, everybody. I appreciate all of your participation. And it's on nights like these when we have difficult discussion where I appreciate your professionalism the most, because I think it's a good example that our political climate and world could use to maybe be a little more productive and not so heated. So that being said, I don't have a lot of additional information to cover. So, Dr. Pascarella, you have anything?
Just a couple things that I thought were really nice. I was able to attend partial or all in some cases, or at least heard about all the different things that our buildings did for our veterans. So to all of our veterans out there in the public, in our community, teaching staff, board, thank you for what you've done, the service you provided. I thought it was a really nice event. One that I got to attend was State Street. They had a nice breakfast and the steel drums played and the chorus sang. So that was a really nice event. And I know there was a lot of flags out here when you rode past the high school for an event they did there, and every building did a little something. So thank you to our veterans for everything that they've done for us. We really appreciate that. And thanks to all of our students and staff in the building who helped to recognize that. One other thing that I thought was pretty interesting, I think the board saw that there was a STEM activity thanks to the BBIU who chose Ambridge, as well as us trying to be active. Mr. Stetson fan as well in his class. we were able to, Chris Hoke from the Steelers was able to come along with partnerships from FedEx. And they did a really cool thing talking about how different careers and things in their life applied to STEM and how the kids might be able to think. So there was a pretty cool discussion in the shop of a group of kids in small groups where these folks facilitated. Chris Hoke, the former Steeler, was the major facilitator, but also these variety of folks talked about different roles in their company and how their interest got started at school and how that might be able to apply to everything they do. So it's a really cool event. Those are just some of the many, many things going on that were great. So just wanted to mention those. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have nothing to report. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much. It's now time for old and new business. Any district resident who desires to comment on any business relevant to the Ambridge Area School District should now come forward. Each person must state their first and last name and address prior to speaking. Each person will be allowed 3 minutes and can speak only once. This period for public comment prior to the standing committee reports will be limited to 1/2 hour.
Participation, I sincerely hope that it will be. Should become a motivation of the taxpayer. Little question, but we can read on the, like, throw out, then have an answer, great, if not. The 5,785, was that a year cost? It was, another example, $24,000 plus, I was quite short on $578,000. That's a lot of money. Again, I appreciate the difficulty, that's difficulty and some of these children, but it's still money. In regards to other building locations, was there any kind of outreach to commissioners, hey, you give us a hand in this, there are a couple of locations, and then obviously that they can be a good fit. That's why the county commissioners are there, the planning mission, and our county courthouse, that's what they're going. Are we doing like these resources? Another question, and that was the question, but one of the questions I would really love to know, which legislators did they reach out to? So did they reach out to the all three state representatives in Beaver County? Did they reach out to Senator Fogle? They reached out to Congress and the Lucille, I really want to know if they reached out to as legislators as well, to the county commission, they reached out to the county commissioners. I'll be back for that. With regards to the meetings talking about, again, I don't know if she was there at the meeting 2 years ago. State was in as an option back in the cafeteria, representatives do, and many people were not to find a meeting because that is the point for the point, it's like 50,000 square feet. I never was not even relevant, but that's what we have to do, which I call it, should have the meeting. And the other thing that she was mentioning is actually 200 and enrolled for all the people. I'm familiar with the handbooks, but that's what she was referring to. Part of the meeting is going to be on except the next week. The answer because instead of finding funding against our meeting,
I see no reason to do that for next week.
I wasn't intending on putting them on after they were voted down.
I said, my answer was, I see no reason to do that for next week. I think the vote was had and that subject so far as I'm concerned is over unless I hear differently from the rest of the board. I'm only one of 9. Did you say a textbook review? Is that what you said? Okay. You're just, if you could wrap up, there's somebody waiting to speak after you. Thank you. It's okay. Take your time.
Oh, and the town is doing, that they're putting up benches, asking people to, commemorate somebody, you know, in honor of somebody, you know, like some guy for my father, my parents in the church, local church that we belong to, sometimes. So that's, you know, just kind of my opinion. I think that, I don't think we need as many seats on the visitors on the other side. It's never, I remember graduating at the school district, and then I was like, 5 years. I have never seen outside field and back. And all the years I've been in the district. So I don't think we need as many seats on that side. But again, not just the my thought about the bleachers and things that go down. The shots to the community, see, they want to purchase something and memory, something, you know, I don't know what the cost would be, but let's just an idea. You know, I'm not sure how it's never been used like it should have been. Like, I think that was a waste of money that was built, that is still when I was there in high school, I think it was a waste of money. It's never been used, but.
Thank you very much.
First, thing that I'd like to speak on is, there was an email that went out about this, last week, in regards to a pilot program in high school, and devices being utilized for safety, within the school. I'm just trying to see if you guys can elaborate on that, what types of devices are being utilized, where they're tracking, are there privacy issues that we should worry about as parents and taxpayers? I sort of think that an email going out to parents, is not enough information to let my parents know what's going on. So if anybody can elaborate on that, great. And I also want to talk about a little bit about, basketball taking place. Dr. Pascal, I'd like to thank you. I didn't make it to the last month's meeting, but I did view it online, and I seen that the trending report scores, like, to congratulate you on that, what you do. I think that's really.
Thank you.
Now that's where I was, apologize. I'd like to speak a little bit about accountability, specifically with these. As you all know, last week on ABC, frequently, as they are, for me. So, bus 113, has been arriving early every day to Columbia Elementary. As soon as on the bus, they sit on the bus for 5 to 10 minutes each morning waiting for support. Last week, parents were told that the bus would come 5 minutes earlier, and reroute. And we started on Monday. Monday morning, that bus broke down. There were no notifications that went out to parents or guardians from the ABC or the school district. We did find out that if I had, if there was some sort of issue where they had to have the garage come out. If ABC knew that the garage needed to come out to fix the bus, ABC knew that parents. I had to reroute my day and come back home. I need to make it back and back home to help assist that situation. Parents had to gather around to get our students to school. That bus never came to pick students up until 9 a.m. And the only reason why I know that is because I have a 5-year-old that's in preschool, and we see the bus coming to pick students up while we run our way to see 5 minutes. It's very innocent. Last week, bus 106 was involved in an incident where the bus driver and a pedestrian. The woman that was sick was waiting for a car ahead. Again, no notification went out to parents. Some of those children that were on the bus were visibly shaken and traumatized after witnessing. Parents should not have to find out about something this traumatic from their children when they get off the bus. Another incident on bus 116, there was a driver who had physically grabbed a child and left bruises on him. It's my understanding that driver was simply reassigned to another bus. I'm asking you to support directly. Is that individual still driving our students? As a parent of this, I will go on record and say that that is my child. I probably need them. We need to make sure that we are protecting our students and our children. Parents deserve to know when there's an accident. Parents deserve to know when a bus is not going to show up. The parents deserve to know that the people driving our children are being properly vetted, trained, and held accountable. ABC Transit is being paid millions of dollars under this contract that we currently have. Yet parents are still filling gaps for their children, and children are still being recognized. And this is to stand by this company that is proven time and time again that it cannot meet its obligations. Accountability doesn't mean excuse. It means answer, transparency, and action. So tonight, I'm asking this administration, why are parents not being notified when the incidents do occur? What protocols are in place to ensure communication does go out immediately moving forward? And are we actively looking for other companies and not to replace the ABC, at least to help build in and stabilize our roots? Because it's clear that the system that they have in place is not working on this. I'd like to thank you all for your time. It's been a long day. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one point of clarity on the bus driver hit that he mentioned, that a pedestrian was hit, but what were the facts of that matter?
A bus did not hit a pedestrian. In fact, the bus driver came up to the scene when it had already occurred and was the one who called for assistance to assist the other person that had already pulled over to help that person. So there was no bus that had hit a pedestrian.
Thank you. Any comment on the bus 116 bruises on
Well,
child?
I think you have to talk
Or-
about that, and this is what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, go ahead.
And the solicitor could jump in at any point, but what I'll tell you is, no matter how short we are on drivers, if anyone harms a kid, they're not gonna be driving for us. So that I can assure you. So for confidential personnel reasons, I won't discuss that. But what I will do is tell you that we will always double check and investigate any of those issues. And if it is founded in any way, or even close, that the person did anything to harm a kid, they do not drive for our school district anymore. What I will say, not specifically to this person, I don't think we could do that, is, has there ever, I'll just answer it like this. Have we ever had to remove people from our routes in my time being here? Yes. I think that's just a fair enough statement there, without divulging any too much information, but letting you know, both as a parent or any other parent, that we look into that and address it. I have noticed, talking with Dr. Filipowski, that as of recent, there has been what I'll say a little bit of a dip in the communication as far as letting us know when something's going to be late, which I thought was significantly better, but I've seen a dip. Not when I say significantly better, I'm not saying great ever, but better. I have seen in talking with her, she gets those calls more so a dip. We're hearing from other people. So we have addressed that and make a note. We'll make sure that we do that again because communication is key. If a bus breaks down or whatever it might be, the main thing is that we need to notify people of that as soon as possible. But we can't notify people of that if we don't have that information ourselves. And oftentimes, recently, unfortunately, we're starting to get back into, we're having to hear that from parent or the school that a parent called instead of them. So we have to, I know that Dr. Filipowski has mentioned that to him quite a few times that it needs to happen. But we have to turn that into action. To your point, I think, as you said about accountability, needs to be action, and we need to hold them accountable for that. So we'll continue to look at that. I think that was the answer to those questions.
I think so.
I did have something real quick for the other two. First of all, thank you to everybody who came tonight, first of all, but the three of you that stayed, I know it's now past 10 o'clock to ask your questions. Thank you for being willing to stay and ask your questions. I thought the memorial idea was a great idea that we could potentially look into. And then the 578,000, I don't have any quick answers to your other questions, but the 578 is the tuition that we pay for the students that attend there. I'm sure they'll come up with a lengthy list and get it back to you, but I'm sorry. Yeah. That's all.
I only had one other comment. I just wanted to say, I think as a board, I mean, we'll be exploring further opportunities if there is an opportunity for us to look at for the bleachers. But I thought that was a very positive idea, Ms. Ninehauser. So thank you for that. I thought that was a
Oh,
She
Oh,
said, thank you for your idea.
positive comment. Oh. That just woke us all up. We're all probably tired. Thank you. Thank you for that suggestion. I thought it was a very innovative idea. And like, as I said, I mean, I think as a board, we'll be still trying to look at
Motion to
further.
adjourn.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Aye.
Bye.
Any opposed? Have a good night, everybody. Motion adjourned.